All right, so we've cut our, careful, delicate, feather, and we use the white paper again, so you can see we have the construction paper feather there. And that's been cut out, and you can see what's left of, sorry, this. See what that is. Some people like to play with this part too because it's kind of interesting, and make that part of their design. You kind of experiment and try things. I'm doing it really simple right now just because, you know, I'm lazy, or just because it makes a quicker demo. I missed the spot thing right there. So tried my best to cut it out as cleanly as possible. And I'm going to make an abstraction of this. And I could glue this down right now, so this will be my first one. Or I could hang on to it, and while I'm making, you know, so I could trace it. If my tracing paper got messed up, I could use this as my model. But I can kind of look at that, or I can use it as, you know, you can do this on scrap paper first, and you can make a, you know, your abstraction. You can start with this. Now you might not want to use this. You might want to just go with your tracing paper because it can be easier to kind of work with. But I'm gonna simplify, and I'm going to make, let's see, just sketch out sort of the same thing, but sort of change the shape a little bit instead of it being so, you know, simplify, but I'm going to think about, well, what do I want it to express? Right now, there's very kind of jaggedy edges. Maybe I want to switch those to softer edges and see how that kind of altering of the form, how that kind of alters the way that it feels, the way that it looks, what it, you know, it's like, and I moved it. That's not that important. I could actually play with moving it around, experiment. I could trace and make some tracings of it and make that my abstraction where it kind of becomes this blurred thing. That's way more interesting than what I'm doing now. I'm going to use it to kind of modify and make these kind of bubbly. So I'm using it as my beginning. I am simplifying, but I'm also simplifying in a direction of it being a softer feather. And I wish I would have moved it that way because I like the idea of making it even bubblier that way. But we will. So I'm kind of making it bigger. Now you can also do something, I mean, you don't have to do it this way. You could shrink it. You could actually exaggerate. I could have decided, well, I like the way that it's sharp. Let me take that and make this big kind of sharp, jaggedy, crazy feather thing. So, you know, be open to experimenting a little bit. I just want to get this demo done and videoed so I can have it up for you guys in time. Anyway, so that's going to be that's going to be my beginning for the other one. I'm going to cut this out and use it as a template to cut the black paper out. Anyway, so I'll save that. I use this. Now I could have, again, just to step back because I'm not going to make things more confusing, I could have used this, retraced it, and then kind of gone over it. You know, if you started gluing this down and went, oh, I glued it down, you can go back over it with the tracing paper again. Let me get this guy out of the way. Let's look at this, and we want to glue this down to the paper. So I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock. Come on, white cardstock. And I'm going to get my cutting board out of the way now because I'm not cutting. If you do make it with lots of parts, it's a good idea to kind of set them on a piece of paper and not, you know, if you have bunches, these aren't part of my piece, but like if you have bunches of little parts that you want to use when you glue it down, try to keep track of them, don't throw them away accidentally. I'm not using little parts, so that's okay. So, gluing it down. You want to be careful not to get too much glue on the table or on this paper where it gets messy. We're going to use this a glue stick. Sorry, ignore the brand. I can't remember what brand we have in the classroom. And these work by turning this up. If you come across one, if you open up in the classroom and it's shriveled up and dried and there's nothing in there, throw it away and try another. If we can't find one, let me know. Hopefully we have some more stashed in the back. So I'm gonna use that glue stick. And sometimes I do this on another scrap piece of paper. And since I'm not using it for anything, I will use this here, so that I don't want to be gluing things down and then get glue on both sides so that it gets sticky on the top and is messy. So I'm gonna use this. I'm just gonna brush this glue on here. Drag this glue across here. Makes a lovely sound. Try not to do that. Yeah, being too aggressive. Again, if I went this way, I'm gonna crush those. Those are gonna fold up. So I want to make sure that I'm gentle, Joe. Gentle, easy. Careful, don't break your thing as you're. Why did I choose a feather? That was a bad idea for Joe. And I'm gonna turn it. I don't want to go. I mean, I could try to hold it there, but I'm likely to bend that up. So I'm gonna turn it this way. I'm gonna get glue on my finger, but go this way so it doesn't end up. So make sure you get all the parts get covered with glue. Try not to stick it down where you don't want it. Get this out of the way. Take the paper, carefully position it. You can start in one spot. I think we're going to have to start in the middle just because of the way things have happened. Try not to end up with it crinkly. Hopefully I didn't mess up the whole idea here. Lay it down carefully. Again, press out so you don't end up with any wrinkles. Let's not demo messing up. I'm good at demoing messing up. And if you can, so I'm putting pressure down. I'm gonna make sure I put pressure down over the whole thing. If your hands are dirty, clean them, or get something that you can use instead of your hand. Maybe a pencil graphite on your hand or something like that. Sometimes you can use an eraser to clean up some of the glue. Should press this down really well. I messed up a little bit there. You can see where I tore. That was the one that I might not cut it the whole way, and I just ripped it out of there. And try not to be so impatient. Anyway, if you could lay something on top of this, and not something that wouldn't stick, to kind of keep pressure on it. The more pressure you keep on it longer, while that glue is setting, the better, so it doesn't peel up off of it. All right. That's our original. That's our non-abstracted. That's our realistic shape. Okay, and then we're going to do an abstraction, which is the other thing that I was working on there for a second. Okay. Now I could look at this right now because it's a pencil drawing, and I could like, do I like that? Do I want to go back and make this one a little fatter? You know, I can change some of the, I can play with the image still. I haven't cut it out of the black paper yet. I could bring this in more a little bit. I could do, make little adjustments right now. I could take this, go like, I want to make this more like this. So I can modify. Remember, this is the one that isn't real. This is the abstraction, the alteration. So you can kind of go in and kind of exaggerate things about it and kind of change. I could have I could make an interior part of this, could make it much more interesting than what I got. Maybe I should do that. So I could think about doing something like, there's a straight line down here. I could just experiment a little bit and see what I want to do, or see what I come up with, okay? So you have freedom to change the original kind of form, shape, into something new. So be as creative as you can, okay? Try things, experiment. There's there's certain things like you gotta follow exact directions for things to come out. This is, you're trying to find something new. So you're not necessarily, there's not, a completely wrong way. Now, gluing down the thing, if you glue it down, it gets all wrinkled up and smushed. That could be a problem. For this particular project, maybe somewhere down the line, maybe smushed up, crimpled up paper might be the interesting thing to do. But for this project, try to just focus on changing the shape. Don't get too far away from directions. But anyway, experiment, explore, play with it a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'll get back and show you and have this one glued down so you can see it. All right, reminder, always put the cap back on securely. Don't leave it without the cap on. So we had the original, and then I had made that template, which I kind of showed you. Again, I used the tissue paper in the first place to get this one off of this, and then, so I made an abstraction, and the first one I made was kind of softer and rounder, but then I traced it on the black paper, and I decided to kind of modify it. I also put it on diagonally instead of straight up and down. Modify it to see how that would change it. So I have the original and the one that I've kind of altered, kind of trying to change the mood a little bit. It's a little more simplified, more kind of stylized, maybe even a little bit more sinister, because the first one that I abstracted, and I actually then took the paper and I just kind of glued that down to a piece of the black construction paper as a comparison. See, this is the first, my original abstraction was to make it softer, and then I didn't like that, so I started on this one. So you can kind of explore these things. And then I even kind of took some of the empty pieces, the scraps of the other one, and kind of played with those and to see what kind of design I could come up with. So be open to experimentation. I mean, I'm kind of, you know, interested in actually the negative spaces from both of them cut out. Sort of has an interesting, could definitely like play with some things here too. So really be open to it. Be careful with the blade, doing cut away from yourself, never cut towards yourself. Try not to, the glue can get quite messy, so try to be careful as possible. You can see where I got some smudges on this one when I was doing it. Smudges? Yeah, smudges. Anyway, take your time, kind of think about the way from your original, what can you change? How can you alter it? What things can you make different? Stylize, abstract, alter, however you want to think about it. You know, how can you change the way that thing looks so it changes the way we might perceive it? Even subtle things too. All right? Go for it.